Hey, how you doing? Tony Wasinski, official editor of the podcast series. Frankie Berger said, I noticed the gloves. I like the gloves you're wearing right now. Are those the Miller Lite gloves?
Thank you. You know where I got them?
ShopMillerLite.com. Is this true?
Shop.MillerLite.com. I know the dots get tricky, but make sure you have all the dots. Shop.MillerLite.com.
Shop.MillerLite.com. I like the gloves where you can peel back the mitten and then the fingertips are open just enough so you could open the beer, put it in the koozie, then put the mitten covers back over the fingertips.
It's a nice touch. If it's snowing, don't get your fingers in the snow.
Fix a tire jack. Maybe you went off the side of a road and got stuck and you had to get the 6-iron out of the trunk and get yourself out of the fucking snow.
Absolutely. Don't let the holiday season stress you out. Instead of getting wrapped up in the hoopla of the holidays, raise a Miller Lite and cheers to keep things uncomplicated. Make sure you check out shop.millerlite.com for gifts. Give them a gift.
Yeah. I know there's plenty of presents we'll be handing out this time of year.
Absolutely. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Give the gift of Miller time this holiday season by going to millerlite.com/redline to find the delivery options near you. Or you could pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. 'Tis Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Hey, how you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Chicago sports fans. This is Barstool Carl.
And White Sox Dave.
Chief. Eddie.
This is Redline Radio and All Gas No Break Chicago Sports Podcast, brought to you by Miller Lite, brought to you by Barstool Sports Chicago. Guys, load a week off the top. Jersey Jerry, Jeff Nadu, fight predictions.
Jeff Nadu by 1 million.
Why?
Wow.
Why do you say that?
Joking. I don't know. It was just a joke to stir up some controversy. I don't know. They both look like they're about the same size. There's no like to a T, actually. Am I wrong there? I've never met Nadu.
A little same height. I'd say the weight probably is slightly in favor of Nadu. I saw they were both
No,
at,
that's a fact.
Yeah, so I would say, they were both
Do you
out
have the measurements?
for Black Friday.
I think the last measurement I saw was Nadu was 215 and Jersey Jerry was around 175, 180
Oh,
maybe?
shit. So they're good 40 pounds there.
And you guys saw them next to each other Black Friday?
I did, yeah.
That's what I'm basing it off of.
Yeah.
But
Maybe I'm wrong. Let me look it up.
I think Jersey Jerry is over 200.
Yeah, probably.
But it's
he's got to be over 200. 170 is fucking small.
he's not a big guy.
No, I know he's not, but
I'd say he's 190, 200, something like that.
Okay.
Were you surprised minus 700 from Prez?
On which side?
Jerry.
Oh, it's on Jerry?
See, here's the thing. Nadu seems
And he said,
like,
he goes, hey, I've watched him train. I've seen the videos.
I don't think that Nadu's got anything to lose, so he's just going to go out there
195, sorry. My apologies.
Yeah.
Okay, so still 20 pounds or so. That is
But it's not
a consequential number.
It's not like it's a Mike Tyson.
Right,
pounds.
of course.
It's just
5'5" versus 5'8".
Honestly, after thinking about it for a
5'8".
second.
Jeff's 5'8". Jerry's 5'5".
He's only 5'5".
Yeah.
I think I still
big heart, though, man.
I think I still like Jerry.
Well, yeah, I agree. Just based on, if you look at the mouthpieces from both, Jeff has been saying, but how much do you take into that in the factor, Dave? Jerry's not subscribing to any talk that he won't win. He's so convinced, I'm not thinking that way, where Jeff is I already won. You know what I mean?
Just by being
I understand
under
that.
the bright lights. Is that what he's saying?
I can see that.
I mean, they're getting paid, bro.
I can see that for sure.
If Nadu wins this one, allegedly they get paid a lot more too, right?
I know their base, and it's fucking pretty damn good.
Are you gonna
say it?
I'm not. I can't. I'm not allowed to. Dave didn't reveal it on the show. Then I can't. I'm sure it'll come out.
You're telling me after we get done recording.
Sure,
this.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
No problem.
That's fine.
This is.
Will you?
Remember
Yeah.
the old Power Moves draft? And you guys were
Maybe
like,
I
that's
won't
not
tell
a
you
Power
because
move.
you're a fuck.
There you go.
Yeah.
No. You're telling me. But what I was gonna say is Nadu seems like he's got absolutely nothing to fucking lose. He doesn't work here, I don't think. Even though I have a theory he might still be on the payroll. You don't typically want to fuck with someone who's got absolutely nothing to lose, and he's got nothing to lose. So I think it should be a at least evenly matched fight. I don't know that I'm right, but
regardless, people are saying like, oh, like there's a lot of hype. I think it's warranted. I am so locked in. Like I want to see this really bad.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm not. This rises to the level of, and I'm not a fight guy like Eddie or maybe the other guys, but like when we made plans for McGregor Mayweather, I remember me and a large group of friends made like, what are we doing for this? We got to make plans. More about the event. It's right up there. Making plans. We're being here Friday night watching it. Like
I'll tell you what my plans are. It doesn't involve any of you 4 cocksuckers. It'll be right in front of my TV, me, myself, and I.
Little 3-chi?
Little 3-chi, maybe a pizza, something like that, and a bunch of rednecks trying to kill each other. But I do have a sincere question. How did the hostility between these two start? Because all of a sudden it just seemed like they fucking hated each other.
So Jerry sent a text message to Dave, and Dave retweeted the text message. And the text was about an official ruling in an NFL game that would have changed the result of a bet that Jerry made on the Barstool Sportsbook app. And it was a long text message. And it's very friendly. It's like, hey, Dave, I don't know if you saw this. It should not have been a touchdown. You should tell Penn National to reverse this bet. It would be in good spirit, whatever. Yes, it was like a $500,000 bet, something like that. 500 or 1,000.
Yeah, it was a $500 parlay.
Okay. Parlay. Mm-hmm. And so then Dave had retweeted it and was like, get a load of this guy or something to the effect of like, you know, like Dave is going to send the tweet out. From there, I think Nadu threw his hat in. Was
and Nadu quote tweeted it, and like Nadu's big. He's a big gambler. He's big in gambling Twitter, and you know Nadu. Like I don't have a problem with him. You know, like I've talked to him before. Like we're very cordial. He does take pot shots at people on Twitter though, and he quote tweeted it. He's like, what a fucking weirdo. Like I don't know. Don't quote me exactly, but he's like who would ever ask for this? No real gambler would think they're going to get refunded. You take your fucking beat and you go on with it. And he's like, who the hell bets $500 parlays too? So that set Jerry to saying like, he challenged him, and then they came on the Portnoy show the next day, and they had it out, and then the rest is going to be history. It's Friday night, tomorrow night.
Yeah. Are you rooting for Jerry?
I know Jerry better, yeah. So
okay.
I'm I don't really know Jeff. I met him for the first time on Cyber Monday.
We all had a very nice time with Jerry, I thought, at the Steelers game, right?
Yeah.
It's not just like we sat in a box, but I thought I had a good interact. We had a good time talking to each other and got to know each other. So
he was way different than I thought he would be.
But Jerry? Still kind of.
He's like quiet and polite.
Yeah.
What do you mean? He's a very nice guy.
He's a very nice guy. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I would have had to have my guard up a little bit more. Like if you're hanging out with like Roan or KB and you're just like waiting for him to like rip on you or make fun of you, or you're just kind of like, I don't know.
No, yeah.
I kind of had that feeling, and then when I met him, I instantly put my guard down.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, and it's just like I love people who are just like so pure, and so like that's Jerry. Like he just loves the Steelers, and like he was wearing the tight end Hauermuth or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like he's a rookie. Freiermuth. He's just like a rookie tight end, and he's just like so he's a guy who loves the Steelers. He's gonna get a new jersey every year. It's like he builds his life around the Steelers. Like I love guys like that.
Yeah.
So like I found him to be very genuine, very nice guy. So yeah, I'm rooting for Jerry. I don't have any like issues with Nadu either. Like he'll send me a DM here or there. So yeah, I have no issues with Nadu, but I'm Team Jerry.
I just know Jerry, and I've become friendly with him over the past couple times.
But that's not what we're asking. Who wins?
That is what I asked. I asked who he's rooting for.
Yeah, he asked who I was rooting for.
Yeah,
you're rooting. Okay,
get the potatoes out of your ears.
You're rooting for Jerry, but who do you think wins?
We said that.
I don't know if any of them have like this is what I predict.
MLB trade rumors.
And I'm not. There's no MLB trade rumors to be read right now. There's a lockout. I don't think either of them have the loose cannon gene.
Ooh, I don't know.
I disagree with that.
I think
how
you missed the dude. I mean,
we just talked about how nice Jersey Jerry is.
That doesn't. You can be a nice guy with a loose cannon.
You can.
I always think the more you're on one end of the spectrum, the more you're able to go to the other end of the spectrum too. Like if someone's super super nice, it's like that's someone who can really break.
Yeah, something's up, bro. You should have seen. It was real at HQ on Cyber Monday. It wasn't on the live stream.
Oh, it was before that.
But before we went live, probably 6:50, he called him a junkie because Jerry's had his battles with drugs. And he fucking got it. Was like Jerry Springer, Steve Wilkos.
Yeah,
shit.
and there were like Prez brought in like real security.
Yeah, like also HQ just has security guards now, which is wild.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so these guys were like literally standing there, and like two of them had Jared, the other one had. It was real. It was very real.
There, no cameras on.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
cameras on. No
It was very
like
real.
theatrics. It was just like a real, like they were gonna fight for real.
So that's this Friday. BuyRoughAndRowdy.com or BuyRNR.com. We'll be tweeting out the links left and right, I'm sure. I want to stay on controversy here real quick, and maybe it was just Eddie that felt this, but is there any hangover here from the hot dog graphic? We had this thing that went viral, and maybe not viral, but I mean, it got a lot of play on social media, and somebody on our social media team here at Barstool Chicago had tweeted out a list of the best.
Who was conveniently sick today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big team.
He's always sick. Can we start calling him Sick Boy?
He is sick boy. It's not. That's not
No, I'm
Yeah.
not kidding. He's like always
Yeah.
sick.
I know.
He's always
He
sick.
knows it too. Like
You know
his-
he's like a legitimate Make-A-Wish guy, right?
I
Yeah.
am not talking about that. I'm talking
He's,
about like sniffles and sick.
No,
I'm
but
not
he's
talking
baked
about
in.
that.
He's baked in like for the winter. Like he bakes in like at least to be sick for like a full month, like combined
See,
throughout the winter.
I see. Like that to me is like you're looking to be sick. Like when I get sick, it like springs up out of nowhere.
Maybe.
Where if
When's the last time you've been sick?
sick? But that's the other thing. Like I never remember it either. And someone in my family would be like, "Oh, you were really sick."
Do you
like,
stay home when you get sick?
He-
Or
You're
is he a
sick-
guy
you're-
who's like
what?
You're a nice pot of chicken noodle soup guy.
Yeah.
I'm sick. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
like,
bundle
yeah.
up. Watch. Yeah.
You guys-
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, what's wrong
That's
with
like
that?
the best cure to.
But like Chief makes.
was that a Mirepoix shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
What? No. I like making fun of Chief more than anybody, and that is the best cure to any sickness.
I'll give you guys a little something to make fun of me for.
Here we
You
go.
ready? Because I was, I've had a little bit of like some of that post nasal drip going on.
Oh,
So
it's
a
the
little
worst.
sore throat, a little lemon, a little honey, a little tea. Pour that hot water over the lemon and the honey. It's awesome. Cures everything. That and chicken noodle. Like who needs modern medicine? You got those two things. You've never done that?
I pound
the lemon and the honey.
pound
Yeah,
piping
yeah.
hot tea.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
put honey in it. And yeah.
It's great. I was slugging those last 2 days. Now I feel fine.
All right. So notwithstanding, that's a good. One more time, what was it?
But Danny's sick
You
boy.
squeeze a fresh organic lemon.
Wait, organic?
Gotta be organic. You don't want those chemicals in your body. And you squeeze that out over a little strainer so you don't get the seeds in there. You put some, squeeze the honey, the raw organic honey, Great Lakes. Squeeze that in there, and then you pour in the hot tea.
Yeah, I don't think that's weird.
I thought, well,
No.
that seems like
Look,
something
Dave,
you guys
what's
would
your
make fun of
fucking
me for.
face?
You
for?
just made fun of him for chicken noodle soup.
Because I just picture him in like a onesie and like a big pot and like
I got a big blanket.
blowing
That
his-
is-
blowing
yeah,
his
but it's
nose.
just
You
like-
know what I mean?
That's like the normal thing for people
Nah, see,
that are
I'd like-
staying home
Yeah,
sick.
people are laughing,
like
but
get
I
it
cure myself while you've been sick for 7 years.
I'd like get it from like pot bellies. That's what I mean. You know what I mean?
you
That's what-
like trash.
like, that's
you
a
have
yeah.
raccoon taste.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So notwithstanding
Come
But
on,
the
guy
hot dog debate.
took a bite out
social
of a
media,
heart. He's gonna
Danny's,
call me a raccoon. This guy bit a heart 2 days ago. Sorry.
That's tribal.
Yeah, it's man shit.
all right.
Ed's doing his best to like make me become an ally with Chief today. But onto the hot dog debate.
Yeah, notwithstanding Danny's like immune system deficiencies.
Yeah.
He did
He has
put out
AIDS.
a graphic
I
that
mean, that's
said the
absurd.
top. It was like the top hot dogs in Chicago, and then I think the goal of the post was because the caption was like, "What are we missing?" You know, and so from Danny's perspective, I'm sure he wants the more replies is obviously the better.
Yep.
And the more like quote tweets that are like, "How the fuck did you leave the Wojo's off?" Whatever.
yeah.
You got
But you actually were mad.
Well, I wasn't mad, but but he shouldn't have made a list without like he shouldn't have done that.
Ed, when
No,
you
I'm
go to
not-
a hot dog joint,
Remove yourself from this conversation.
No.
Okay, I don't
When
mean
you
mad,
go to
but
a
like
hot
you
dog
want to be
joint-
you want to be in the room when we're
Well, he
doing
would-
the
you know,
battle
he would-
plans and we're going into Normandy. Like you want to be
Well,
sitting around the round table talking
I don't
about.
think you know what it was like the week or two, maybe even month after Dave left and we did those pizza reviews to see your mentions because it's a nightmare. People, when it comes to food and shit, they're psychos.
It is
Crazy.
true.
Psychos.
Yeah.
it's
Psychos.
food
Dave.
1, doesn't trivia 2.
Dave, are you disappointed that White Sox Dave's Kitchen didn't make the list on this.
People were tagging me in that tweet. But my final point is, until it comes up again, is anytime you go to hot dog joint, you see this little neon sign. What does that neon sign say?
Mute this.
Vienna.
Vienna beef.
Mute
You can
this.
go to Jewel,
Talk to me,
Mariano's. You could probably go to Target and get Vienna beef hot dogs. A poppy seed bun, a
Mute.
pickle spear. Shut up, Ed.
Tony Reale, mute.
Pickle relish, celery salt, tomatoes, and onions. And you can make a Chicago-style hot dog that is within, even if you don't want to say in the same ballpark, it's within the same universe as what all the hot dog stands do. If I tried to duplicate a Vito and Nick's
I'm
pizza
not
or
listening,
Phil's
for the
pizza,
record.
because you agree with me, Ed.
No, I don't
Yes,
agree
you
with
do.
you.
Yes,
and
you
I think
do.
the only
Yes,
point I'll make
you do.
is when they put the original tweet out, there was a million replies of people shooting around their places. Why would people have opinions if that were the case?
That's a good point.
Right?
That's
I
a
mean,
good
why
point.
would people have opinions on what the best is if there wasn't a fucking variance? I mean, it's just
I
it's
didn't
stupid.
say there's not a variance.
It's crazy.
You're not listening to me. I did not say there's not a variance. I said the variance is light years smaller than if I tried to duplicate what the best pizza places do.
Yeah, but that's my whole point. Is the goalpost on this argument has moved so far where it turned into that argument.
But it's
So-
just
No,
like
I'm trying to like reason with you when I say that. Hold on. I'm trying to reason
I don't
with
really
you when
wanna
I
do
say
this.
that.
Yeah, no,
didn't bring it up.
well,
I'm trying to reason with you when I say that. Is that like I think that I can come at least somewhat close. You may disagree with how close, but you can't possibly disagree that when you like these 99% of the hot dog joints are getting their hot dogs mass produced and buying in bulk from Vienna beef. That's the whole key to a fucking hot dog is the hot dog, and they're all getting it from the same places. The place
were you
that
gonna
we
say?
can go and buy a fucking pack of hot dogs for $5 or
You
$8
asked
or
for
whatever.
this.
no,
What were you gonna say?
Because I wanted to
Because
do
it's the only fucking answer.
This is not-
It's the
but-
only answer.
But we were talking about Eddie in social media, Danny posing a hot dog question, and I thought it was
It was
interesting.
absolutely a troll.
Ed's perspective that like, hey, I want to be in on this, and I wanted
The
to get into like
timing.
why
The
did Ed
timing.
want to talk to Danny
The
about
timing
it?
as well.
This argument that we go back and forth on, Dave.
The timing was peculiar because it's coming off of that Friday stool scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was my point too. With
Yeah,
social
Danny
media,
knows what he's doing.
He knows. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. I'm just surprised that you don't think you can take bread flour and olive oil and a little yeast and a little sugar and like it's all like your argument is that like well you can just get all the ingredients. Well, you can say that about like any fucking dish. Like I think you can
That
make
takes-
you can make a pizza dough, Dave.
Yeah, I could. I did it when in like last March. I
Sure,
made
it was
pizza on my
good.
own. It wasn't bad. But,
Okay, that's what I
like it was
mean.
edible. It was like a shitty frozen pizza. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But like to make a hot dog, it takes 2 fucking minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You boil a hot dog, you put it in the bun, you put the shit on top. To make a fucking pizza, it takes hours. You gotta let the yeast rise and the dough rise and shit. Actually, you had the dough you had to make the day before. It's not often you're gonna
Depends
do
on
that.
what kind of dough
Yeah.
you want, but
Fun fact:
You're
Dick Portillo.
arguing semantics.
Yeah.
Dick
that's fine.
Portillo snuck into Gene and Jude's and posed as a worker to figure out what they were doing to take it over to Portillo's. Fun fact.
How
why would he do
long
that?
into
I
the
don't know.
dog
They might
cart?
be doing something right.
And
right?
How long did he have the dog cart parked on the side of the road before he's like, I
You're
gotta-
arguing exceptions to
Who,
the rule,
Dick?
Ed.
Yeah, was Dick Portillo already hustling dogs on the side of the road? You know, and he was like, man, I could use a little advantage. Or was he like inspired to start the hot dog and then sneak and then do it?
I think he did have the cart, and then he was like, "Oh, these aren't right." To my knowledge, would you make that face?
I don't even want to do it because it's like you're arguing the outliers. That's what he said, like the exceptions to the rule, and it's like like Gene and Jude's and all these places that
You've
specialize.
never even been to Gene and
Of
Jude's.
course I have. We've talked about it
When did we talk about this?
recently.
Even if he
Okay,
hasn't been to Gene
okay,
and Jude's,
yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes a difference for the purpose of his argument.
But correct. But like that's the whole thing is you're like Ed's saying like these are the exceptions to the rule. You're saying they're all the same.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying the variance is like I could come closer to making a Gene and Jude's hot dog than I can to a fucking pizza from Al's. Do you think I could even come close to duplicating Al's? You've had Al's.
Al's is fucking awesome.
Okay.
Well,
Do
a
you
lot of
think
pizza's about the oven, though.
I'm not talking about the oven. I'm talking about the pizza in general. Do you think I could come even within a fucking light year?
I think you can make an edible pizza.
I didn't
The way-
fucking say that. You're
Got
not
potatoes in my
listening.
ears?
Yes. You're not
I
listening.
know
to
your
me.
thing is the variance, and I'm just saying that maybe you don't have a sophisticated hot dog palate the way you do for
It's
pizza.
cased meat that is left over from remnants of pigs that's seasoned and boiled. What palate do you need?
Well, you also prefer New York hot dogs.
Have you ever had a
Yes.
New York hot dogs? It's super different, but I mean, to me, a hot dog, like if we're talking about pork hot dogs, like game over already. Beef hot dogs are a million times better, okay? And Vienna hot dogs, if you go to Ducks on Ashland or if you go to 35th Street Red Hots or almost anywhere else, they're just buying Vienna hot dogs in bulk. And you can get the exact same hot dog from fucking anywhere and put it on a bun with all the shit on top of it, and there's your fucking hot dog. You can't just do that with a pizza. It takes like a day plus to do that. You can make a hot dog in 2 minutes. It's bananas. No, and here's the thing. Like, I don't believe you, Ed. I think you agree with me, and you just don't want to admit
I
it.
don't, Dave. I don't agree. I don't know what you're going to say. I'm not having this argument with you.
We've been having it for 20 minutes.
Like if you went to different other
I
hot
just want to
dog
know what
places,
spots got left off or what you wanted.
No,
No, you didn't. You know what you were doing.
if you went to other places, they would all taste different.
I mean, not really. They're all using the same hot dog from the same fucking company. How's it going to taste that different?
So do you think like? So in that case, do you think there's a possibility like sauce and cheese and dough are bought from the same places?
A lot of times they are. You see
Yeah.
the package of buns stacked up in the background of most places
Mm-hmm.
that are the white package. You know what I'm talking about. They
Rosens.
pull them out.
It is what it is. He thinks all hot dogs are pretty much the same, and a hot dog's a hot dog to Dave. That's all there is to it.
All right, division aside, would have been great if Danny's here. Get better, Danny. I want to bring you two together right now.
Okay.
All right. Some tragic news.
I'm fine. That's probably the most civil this debate has ever been, to be honest.
Well, I don't want to seem like I don't want hard feelings.
There's no hard
Not on
feelings.
the
No, there's no
Thursday
hard
Red Line
feelings.
radio show about dogs.
There's no hard feelings at all.
I mean, if you want to talk about dogs, Ed hates them.
Coming
wants
from
them all
coming from the
euthanized.
guy that's killing animals.
wow.
What does that have to do with dogs?
I actually was going to talk about dead animals.
What were you gonna say?
I was going to see if you guys had any like actual words about Medina spirit, because I saw that Dave tweeted out like this happens a lot at Santa Anita, or
Happens
like
all the
with
time.
Bob Baffert. So I don't know that.
So Bob Baffert is, for better for worse, in my opinion, for much worse, the face of horse racing. He's the LeBron James of horse racing, the Michael Jordan. He is the face of horse racing.
It's that white hair.
And everybody, like, even if you follow horse racing at a very, like, just watch, if you know what a creaster is, you go to church on Christmas, Easter. Even if you're someone who only watches the Derby one Saturday a year, you know who Bob Baffert is because he gets all the screen time. He has all the best horses. He's made tens of millions of dollars in his life training and owning horses. Yeah. But he's also been suspended by the NYRA, the New York Racing Association, by Churchill Downs. He's currently in court trying to sue the NYRA right now for his suspension, and he's just a world-class piece of shit. He drugs his horses, shoots them up with all sorts of steroids. They're constantly dying. He treats them like shit.
Can I
And
interrupt
Is
for
this
one
fact
sec?
or alleged?
No, for Santa Anita has had so many deaths. So they had 37.
I knew that.
37 horses died in the between 2018
that's
and 19.
Bob Baffert's home course.
Yep, and 20 died.
Track, yes.
In 2021.
Yes.
Did you say 30? How many?
37 in 18-19. 20 have died in 2021. PETA is claiming that 7 of Baffert's horses have died mysteriously over the last 16 months due to his, quote, reckless and routine habit of administering the powerful hormone thyroxine. And that's to horses without a thyroid condition. So, like, they want to have, like, all of Medina's spirits veterinary records seized and go through like a thorough investigation. So like I think this is like this could be the end of Baffert, but.
Well, he's been walking a fine line for
Big
years
time.
now, and I mean, if Churchill Downs kind of sort of the mecca of
Fuck them
of
too,
horse
though.
racing, yeah, fuck them, but for different reasons. And on top of this, but if they're like, we're done with this guy, like even though he brings in all the eyeballs to our sport at our biggest day of the year, if they're saying it, then he's like,
I don't think he does though, dude. Like he has the best horses.
he
but I don't, people
absolutely
don't.
does.
If he got hit by a bus
Can you name
tomorrow?
aside from anybody that you and I are associated with? Can you name
No.
one exactly?
Okay, but I don't think that he is personally bringing in those eyeballs. Horses are still going to run.
It's indirect. It's indirect. His horses
Yeah.
are typically the best horses, and when one of them is going for a triple crown,
Yeah.
then it's because of
that's-
him, and he is the best at what he does.
Sure.
Maybe it's because of
to me, that's like
PEDs, but
that's like, well, no one's going to watch the Yankees after Steinbrenner dies. Like that's not true.
it's.
You know, like I think.
I mean, it's a dying sport, anyways.
It
which
is
unfortunate.
but I don't think it would decline at a more rapid rate if Baffert wasn't involved. I don't think like he's doing any marketing. He's just like the guy who has the hair and like has successful horses, probably because he's cheating and risking their lives.
All fair, but in the end, get rid of the fuck. You got to get rid of this guy. And when I tweeted that about Santa Anita, and over the last, we'll call it 2 years time frame, they have had death after death. Like Portnoy's talked about. I think Portnoy wrote a long blog on it last summer during 2020 when horse racing was the only thing going on, and like it. From what I understand, they did clean up, and a lot of times if a horse breaks its leg, it's not like if we break our leg, you throw it in a cast, you're better 6 weeks later or whatever. That's basically a death sentence for a horse. It's very, very hard to rehab them to a point where they can live a normal quality lifestyle for a horse, and then they get all these bacteria and infections. Typically, if a horse breaks its leg, you shoot it in the head and put it out of its misery because it's about to live a miserable existence. So that a lot of the reason at Santa Anita is because of poor track conditions, and that has nothing to do with Bob Baffert, but that is Baffert's home course or home track at the same time, and I mean he's got more say than anybody in the business and in that world. So it's like, dude, fix your fucking shit. And Medina Spirit, he was obviously drugged up because he got the Derby taken away from him.
Yep.
Like, and if he's shooting this horse up and the horse had a heart attack on the course, which is what it sounds like he's had, like, fucking put this guy in prison. Don't just ban him.
Yeah. He looks like a guy. He looks like a guy who should be in prison. When they cut to him in the Kentucky Derby, it's like, was that guy, you know what I mean? He's just got that vibe.
He's got that
Slicing
slimy,
garlic with Polly.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
looks slimy.
So
Ashley Schaefer, like he,
They had to have been copying him for that, right? Like, it's
I don't know.
too
The
close.
hair is just
Yeah.
like so bang on, but like, yeah, he just seems like a scummy guy who, he probably got into the sport for the right reasons, had a little bit of success, and got addicted
Got
to
greedy.
it, and
Yep.
Yeah.
that's like the theme of the day. We just did a podcast about Ed and I and Dante about Von Dutch, where it's like pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Like, I think this is we're about to see Bob Baffert get slaughtered.
You guys,
Hopefully.
you
Yeah.
guys should watch that. By the way,
It's awesome,
it's on
dog.
Hulu.
Yep.
It's a 3-part doc on the story of Von Dutch. You remember those hats?
yeah,
from
the
back then?
hats. Like, yo,
Very good.
hey,
Very good.
I'm Von Dutch.
Yes.
Murders, hitmen.
Very good.
With the little
Crazy.
star, like the
Yeah.
little. That's it. Okay,
Patch.
so a developing story in the investigation side of things. It's sad to hear that about the horse. I know you guys are horse guys, and an opportunity to talk horses. Red
Yeah.
Line Radio. That's special. Another thing I want to talk about though for a second.
Okay.
That does impact a portion of our audience that might be relevant is our very good friends at innovativeadd.com. If you're getting your ADHD medication, if you're a resident of Illinois, you must be a resident of Illinois for this to apply to you. We have a phenomenal partner that can help take the stress out of getting your ADHD medication filled, and that's innovativeadd.com.
Yep. Like you said, you got to be a resident of Illinois. They do take insurance, and it is so easy. So if you go to innovativeadd.com, that's how you sign up. And it's a real medical clinic. So it's not an online only like refill service. This is a real clinic. They're based here in Chicago. And these are medical providers that you can trust. You'll definitely want to use them for ADHD management, but you can turn to Innovative for all sorts of things related to primary or urgent care. So great product, great company. And like we said, they're Chicago based. So you go to innovativeadd.com to get signed up. And yeah, like I think you're going to have a great experience. It's so easy to use. So again, innovativeadd.com, got to be a resident of Illinois, and they will take your insurance. So it's a great company.
Which is rare.
Very rare. Very rare. And this is, this is one of those things that I think people never really even thought of until COVID. And now it's just going to be a staple. So you just can do everything online and know that this is a real medical clinic.
InnovativeADD.com. We have some, obviously, Cubs. It's Packers week.
Justin Fields officially starting.
Oh.
That came out like maybe 10
minutes ago or so, yeah. Like right as we started the show, Justin Fields has been announced the starter for this week, and nothing changes for me. They're still going to lose by 30.
Am I sick that I'm actually excited?
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Ed, you've gotten to the point where I got to in like 2017 and shit with the White Sox, where you don't watch for wins and losses. You watch to see improvement from the players you know are going to be here for when the team is hopefully good again.
Yeah, because what I think
walking in his steps
and his shoes.
Yeah,
I like that.
If you
walking in his Jordans.
Like if the Bears lost by 30 and Fields went 23 of 32 for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick, you'd be like, fuck yeah, right?
Yeah, that'd be nice, but 30's a lot. Like that means our defense is like you need to get rid of everyone.
You know what I'm
besides
getting at, though.
I know what you mean. Yes,
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Why are you excited?
I'm excited because I think I said a couple weeks ago that I think there's an opportunity here, a big opportunity for Justin Fields that's going to be very vital to his success in a Bears uniform.
I agree.
And that's playing at Lambeau Field. And do you remember when we talked about it? So I think it's going to be a good thing to get him out there. That is the height of being a Bear, prime time, against your rival, against the best quarterback in the league.
Cold.
In the cold.
Yeah.
Like, this is it, Justin Fields.
Where's he from again?
Georgia.
Is he from Georgia?
Kennesaw,
Yeah.
Georgia.
Do you think he's ever even been in the conditions that he's about to be in?
Ohio State late in the year.
Yeah.
I mean, not at Minnesota, though. I mean,
They've had snow games at Ohio State. I had to look it up, but I bet you he's been in some cold weather before.
I mean, there's the adrenaline.
This is a little
of being
different, though.
the
This is
Bears
the frozen
quarterback in
tundra.
Lambeau. I'm sure is worth 40 fucking degrees Fahrenheit, guys. I'm not even talking about the
Oh, no,
offensive
yeah, I
linemen
agree.
without their sleeves, but like. I always
sure.
think that's kind of shitty. Not shitty, but just cheap. Unless there's 8 inches of snow. No, heavy snowfall and like really bad conditions. But for purposes, if he just goes up there and it's fucking 20 degrees and cold and crisp, like I'm sure his blood's pumped. That's got to be so exhilarating.
And to be honest with you guys, like this is also a big game. Like I saw they said like, hey, like they asked Nagy and get that idiot out of the equation. But they asked him like, hey, you remember when Aaron Rodgers said I own you? And he's like, yeah, we remember that. And it's like also a big fucking grab your nuts if you got any.
Yeah.
Like, cause
do you have any pride?
Yes. Do you have any pride, Danny?
Right.
Like, because this is it.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is like, if you want to be the ever optimist Bears, like we talked about the state of the Vikings and the Lions, the Aaron Rodgers equation is for the future still out there. So if Justin Fields does turn in a good game in Lambeau, you can say like, hey, with the right new coach and the right GM, the division could be there for the taking. And so like I'm with Dave on this and with you, I guess, Ed, where you just want to have a little bit of hope, knowing that everything around the Bears, if they were in almost any other division, you'd be like, fuck. But if Rodgers leaves Green Bay and the Vikings fire everybody and they kind of start over and the Lions are the Lions,
Yeah, and this is like a lot more needs to be put in place to feel like completely better about the team and the future of the franchise besides Justin Fields. Because
one feather in the cap would be nice.
Yes, one feather, but it almost does feel like give me that Jorge Soler 2 bombs against the Cardinals at the end of that season. Do you remember that? And it's like you may got us now, but like, hey, we're like, this train's coming. Yeah, and I know it's like. It's not exactly apples to apples because the Bears have a lot of work to do.
Can say Detroit versus the Hawks in 09.
Yes.
Yes. That could be where they got smoked 4-1 in the conference final, but they had that comeback. They had Patrick Kane had the sick goal, and it's like, all right, you guys are it now, but like it's coming. I don't know when.
Yes.
So
That's the opportunity.
yes,
We're not saying it's going to happen, but
right.
that's the opportunity.
Yes,
folks.
right.
That's it. Wasn't the Niners game bad weather or rain? I don't know. I can't remember exactly.
I remember
I
being
feel like
gray.
the Bears
It
played
was-
some shitty weather this year, though.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
at
no,
one point.
Halloween day.
The Niners, I
That was
felt
pretty
like that
crappy.
was.
Yeah.
Can I say something else?
What?
This is related to the Cardinal game. I'm done with the orange uniforms.
Those are the worst. They got a combo of. I think those might be some of the worst uniforms in sports. And then they have the fucking block oranges that are some of the best in sports.
They don't wear them.
And they never wear them.
Yeah.
It's like, quit with this shit.
It doesn't bother me.
The oranges?
No, it doesn't. But I've never been like. I always hated when you played Mad against your buddy, and he took the extra 15 seconds to pick his uniforms.
Yeah.
Like I just clicked X.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I see the orange and I think of Tillman and Vasher.
Vasher, for
Vasher,
sure.
for sure.
Like
For
those are just, that's just like you wear orange. It's like,
Little
damn,
Dude,
Vasher.
I
the
think
quarters.
about that field goal return for a touchdown that Vasher had. And what year is
It was
that?
going viral
05?
like this week. I saw it a few places. Yeah.
That spin move he had, it really looked like a Madden game.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's
All right,
possible
that's a
to
good point.
spin that quick and like get full speed again.
This is the type of thing I would say, but then I'd be like, I don't want to say it, and then you guys look at me like I'm absolutely fucking crazy. So, Dave, I would like to just give you a big hug right now and say thank you for bringing this up because the Nathan Vasher spin move on this return,
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Preposterous.
it's so good that I find myself rewinding to it and like slowing down and dragging the
What year was
scroll
Michael
cursor
Vick
over
on
the
the
move.
cover of
2004.
I thought it was
04.
04.
It was
04.
Madden 05,
Do you
but I think it
remember
came out in 04.
how good they made the spin move in that version of
yeah.
Madden? It was like if you spun, it was a touchdown, and,
Yeah.
you made one miss, you were gone.
Yeah.
Vic
it was like that.
Vic,
when you were in
Peerless
France.
Price.
Yeah,
when
you
you
just like you could go all the way back
Price
to
is
the
a callback.
Dude,
Yeah.
and all time, sorry, Warwick Dunn running back, and then they had the
All-Star?
Michigan State running back that saved
TJ
it.
Duckett.
Yeah, that he
TJ
was the
Duckett.
backup to
Yep.
and
Warren.
Michael the Burner Turner.
And of all time, I'm gonna drop a fucking tight end name on you guys that should have you running for nostalgia. Algie Crumpler.
Algie
Yep.
Crumpler.
Number 83, 290
pounds. Huge.
Warwick Dunn's supposedly a great guy.
Does a lot of
Yeah,
charity
like-
stuff, builds houses.
Yep.
Yeah, builds houses.
Yep.
He was sweet, dude. When he came up with the Bucks, he came up with the Bucks right when
Him
they
and-
changed
him and
those
All-Star.
Bucks uniforms.
Yeah. Mhm.
That was a special time
Yep.
when the Bucks changed the uniforms and instantly got good. A uniform change goes a long way.
It changed. Yeah, I completely agree. It's like, especially because those cream school ones were like they're a candy ass uniform that I think if they brought back now, they could be cool. I wish they would let the Brady Bucks wear them, but they were so bad. They were 0-14 a couple times, in the 70s with those. They were like the laughing stock of the NFL. And then they switch and they bring in Derek Brooks and Allstott and all those guys. And
Yeah,
it's just like
Hardy
this is
Nickerson,
Hardy Nickerson,
all-time linebacker
Warren
name.
Sapp, yeah, they were sweet. John Lynch.
Who said candy ass, by the way? Which wrestler? Was that Rock?
The Rock, yeah.
Yeah.
The Rock, yeah.
I watched 10
KFC
minutes
said
of,
that to
of
Julia
2000 Stone Cold Stunner compilations this past weekend because I just casually said to Mrs. Carl in the kitchen, I was like, you deserve a Stone Cold Stunner for that. She's like, what's that? And I was like, over to YouTube. And then next thing you know, we were sitting in front of the TV. He stunned Kurt Angle like 46 times in the year 2000 alone. Kurt
That's a
Angle
lot of
existed
stuns.
just to get stunned.
Wrestling's
down.
one of those things I was never into, but like looking back at my childhood, I wish I would have been.
I do
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I think I
Like-
would have loved it.
Not even like wrestling shaming, but I sincerely feel bad for people that missed the heyday because it
Right.
was
Yeah.
like I don't know if I'll ever enjoy something as much as I enjoyed that.
Ken W.O. says it stinks now, but he's like
yeah,
the
it's
world's
not.
biggest.
Yeah, it's a fuck.
Yeah. But I remember like my
supposedly
buddies,
AEW's better, but who knows?
my buddies were like all into it, and I would just be like, nah. Like I just like never gave it a chance.
Yeah.
And now it's like it comes up so much in pop culture now that I bet you when I was 11, 12, 13, 14, I bet it was like the fucking sweetest thing in the world.
You
I
threw
just-
out a name a minute ago, John Lynch. I just pulled up his hardest hits compilation, and he could fucking kill people.
It was like him and Steve Atwater and
He
Brian
could be
Dawkins.
named personally in these lawsuits for CTE.
Yeah.
It was like
Seriously.
suing NFL, John Lynch.
He played for, fun fact, the King County Cougars, and he threw out, I want to say, the very first pitch in King County Cougar existence. John Lynch.
Did not know that.
Yep.
So he played baseball at Stanford then too?
Yep. And I'm pretty sure I want to say he was a second round pick.
Wow.
So it wasn't
Athlete.
like he was some late round guy that just happened to play baseball, but he was like he could have played
He's
Major League
fucking
Baseball.
legit.
Yeah.
That little receiver for Alabama, Slade Bolden, was supposed to be a high draft pick too. Keep that in mind when he's fucking on the sidelines, running around all 5'7". That's a side point. I had one more thing about wrestling. Ed, what do you like more, intros or finishing moves?
Intros, hands down,
Okay.
hands down.
Because I do love a finishing move, like a chest slap that knocks you out or something.
Definitely, it's cool, but
A leg drop. Hey, speaking of wrestlers, if I was in the WWE, I would definitely want to make sure that my pubes were nice and shaved and tight. I had, nice, clean, right?
Has to be.
If I'm putting on the
Oh,
onesie.
yeah.
And when it comes to that, Dave, what's my best product? What's my best brand, Chief? Who do you trust when it comes to?
Oh, it's only Manscaped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have an offer for our listeners. If you go to manscaped.com/redline, you get 20% off and free shipping. It is a great stocking stuffer. So this is one of those things. It's I don't feel like it's a thing that people don't talk about very much, but like this is the ultimate tool to keep everything looking good. And they have everything for you. You can stuff your whole stocking just by going to Manscaped. They got the 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner. They've got cologne infused with body wash. They've got, like a nail kit, so you can give yourself like a little at-home manicure if you wanted to. That's a very important thing too. People neglect their nails.
the crop mop.
I gotta
Crop
say,
The
one of
crop
my
mop's big. You know what the crop mop is?
I don't.
It's a fucking little. It's almost like a Roman swipe packet. Actually, it is like a Roman swipe packet.
Mm-hmm.
If you got the ball cheese you talk about all the time, you just give it a wipe.
Gonzo.
Yeah, it's a fucking
No shit.
which is like crucial.
Yeah.
Like
well, the
that-
cheese I talk about, that's when you're depanting and ready to sit down and take a dump, and you catch the whiff.
Yeah. So
That's
like,
not a good smell.
if you're at,
Dave just caught a double header in Iowa.
I was like,
like that's crucial. If you're playing an away game and you can't like shower before, you put a crop mop in the moment. It's nice.
Jeez, that's great.
and you know what I also like about it, Ed?
Playing
is
away.
all their
Right, though?
formulations
No, I know.
are cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, and paraben-free, so you know their products are legit. Chief, I know you're a vegan and don't like to kill animals. Talk to them about the paraben-free products.
That's just slander. Slander.
What's funny, Ed?
Nothing.
But yeah, go get 20% off and free shipping. That's and free shipping, not or free shipping. That's and free shipping at manscaped.com/redline. It'll be the ballsiest gift you give this winter.
Justin Fields is a vegan, by the way. Your quarterback.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
Just telling you.
How old is Kirby Doc?
20. I hit that little bet last night. Put that
There you
out
go.
there for the people.
17-game scoreless lead, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So he scored last night. They got smoked 6-2. Like predictable. The Rangers are good. Tom's over there laughing, probably giggling. He had the biggest grin on his face when I walked in today, New York Tom. But it's like, dude, yeah, the Hawks stink. The Hawks stink. And but Doc got one, but it was like, I don't know. He just has this thing where he won't shoot if he has more than like a tenth of a second to think about it. He'll like always defer. He's got to figure that out. I just think he's just not that good. It's part of the equation here. I think he's fine. I think he's like a perfectly capable like number 2 guy, a number 2 center on a good team, but he's not a superstar. People say he needs Getzlav. He's the next Taves. Like no fucking chance.
I feel like this is like not good.
But it's the same thing I've been saying all along. I think he can get to a place where he's like a 55, 60 point guy, and people talk about him like, no, like he'll be a 100-point guy. It's like, no way. Like he's just not that guy. Like he could be a very good player for a long time, and I think he will. But he's not like this guy you're going to build your whole future around. And it's like, I've said that.
I have noticed a lot of Blackhawks Twitter has been in kind of a mutiny against him.
But I
recently.
think that's unfair too, and I think that's kind of on Stan. Like, remember, like I had the thing like Bo Byram, no matter what. Remember,
And they're hot, and defensively, the Avalanche look strong.
they're fucking unbelievable.
Yeah,
They got
so
Makar, they got Devin Taves, they got Bo Byram, they have everything, and it's like I think Kirby Doc. I said it in real time when they drafted him. He was the most NHL ready guy. Stan's job was on the line because it was before they fired McDonough, and McDonough was like looking around, being like, "Hey, You said if we fired Joel, like we would make the playoffs and everything would be fine. And they went in the fucking tank. So it's like they went out and got Caldejon. They traded for Shaw. They were trying to be good, like make the playoffs like on the fly to save his job. And they're like, we need one more forward. So they traded Jokiharju for Nylander, bust. And then they drafted Doc. And if you look around Trevor Zegras for Anaheim looks like he was in that draft class. He looks unbelievable. Cole Caulfield was in that draft for Montreal. He was great in the playoffs last year. I think Doc is a very, very, very good player. He's not like this franchise cornerstone. And I don't think DeBrincat is either. So it's like Stan sold Danny Wirtz on this vision of Seth Jones, Doc, and DeBrincat. And it's just not going to be good enough. And we've seen this decline from, Doc has, call it, I don't know, a junior year slump. This is, he was supposed to have a breakout year. It's a contract year. And so contract year, third year as a pro, healthy, full training camp, the whole thing. Like if he was ever going to be a superstar and he's playing with DeBrincat and Kane, where you're going to put up points, this would be the year. It's not happening. So I think he'll still, so I think he's a nice player, but he's not like a franchise cornerstone. So I like him. He's good, but I think he gets fucked because they build him as this. They took him third overall because they're rushing, trying to make the playoffs. When he was projected to go anywhere from 7 to 10, but he was the guy who's going to be ready the fastest because he's 6'4" and 200 and and then they sold us this whole thing about how he can't get better playing in the WHL again. It's like, what are you talking about? Like they never even how they're doing this thing with Reichel. Hey, we're bringing him along slow. We'll leave him in Germany for a year. We'll give him more opportunities. With Doc, they put this narrative out there like he can't develop anymore because he's so much bigger and stronger. That's bullshit. So they started the clock on him a year or two early. There are other things in his game that he could have worked on like any other young player did. Bo Byram went back. Trevor Zegras went to college. Like that's just like a thing for almost every NHL draft pick, unless you're a McDavid, like that type of guy, that you probably need another year or 2 or 3 of seasoning in junior or the AHL before you're ready. And I think they brought him up too early because they were desperate to make the playoffs, and they drafted him too early because they're desperate to make the playoffs. And they put this like the weight of the next 15 years, the franchise, on this kid's shoulder. It's just not fair. So I part of the reason why I want to say all these things. I want to clearly state what expectations should be for this guy, so people aren't calling him a bust, because he's not a bust. He's kind of exactly what you would expect from that, pre-draft. It's like he's not going to be one of those superstar guys.
Just people see the number of the draft order, and they just get so hung up on that. So
and it's like they know Taves is drafted third overall. Yeah, so it's like I think that's part of the equation too. And they sold, and they went out there and Stan, and he was great in the bubble, so that gave people some hope. But I think he's probably a 55, 60-point guy and a nice part of a team who could be a good team. But he's just not what it is. And it's not just him that's struggling. Like Taves hasn't scored a goal. It's been 25 games. It's almost, it's almost Christmas, like Taves hasn't scored. And Kane's got 2 goals in his last 14. He's still about a point per game guy, but he's not as productive as we should be. Kubalik is a bum. So I think, I've said it on Twitter. The Hawks are dead. Cancel them. And it's time to start thinking about selling off pieces. And so that's the next piece of this. But they don't really have a lot to sell off.
So then as of right now, 1 p.m. Wednesday, is there an update on 16? That was fucked up.
That was one of the worst hits I've seen in a long time.
That was fucked up.
Yeah. So
how do you spell his name again?
How do you spell it?
Yeah.
Khaira. Kara. Jujar Kara. And a guy who's well liked by his team. I like Jujar Kara on the fourth line. Straight ahead guy. And he, puck in his feet, looked down for it. And Trouba stepped up and, literally sent him to the hospital. And so I think it was probably a hit that he'll get a call from the office for. I don't think it was dirty. It was just, 2 big guys moving fast. That's hockey sometimes.
Split second, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'm watching it now. I watched it a few times last night. I don't think that was a dirty hit.
It was illegal because the principal point of contact was the head. I don't think it was dirty.
So, he wasn't head hunting.
No, I don't think so. And Trouba's never been known as that kind of a guy. But, both guys, I think, are 6'3", 6'4", 200 something pounds,
Yeah.
like moving fast, and you know, and
fucking out cold,
people are
man.
like, oh, like Jujhar Khaira should keep his head up. Like that's somebody who's never played. There's so many comments like that, especially from Rangers Twitter. Rangers Twitter, hey Tom, Rangers Twitter is terrible. Like,
No, it's not.
yes, they are. Yes, they are. All these fucking New York Italian hardos in my mentions.
Oh my God.
being
You know who you
keep-
sound like? Yeah, you know
keep
who you
his-
sound like?
Who do I sound like?
Your friend to your right over there.
That's what it was. It was a bunch of guys going to the
Do they
Sebastian.
all have who's the best player on the
You guys are the
Rangers?
most
Adam
like,
Fox.
sensitive,
Okay, do they all have a bunch of
insecure-
Adam
No, it's not being
Fox profile
sensitive.
pictures?
Then how do you have the same like
It's Tom, like
commentary
you,
as White Sox say about the greasy meatball, whatever?
but
Like I could pick
I'm
out
just
the
looking
same.
at my Twitter feed, and it's all the same types of people saying like, "Oh, well, he should keep his fucking head up." But it's like, "Hey, asshole." Sometimes you lose control of the puck. You try to kick it up to your stick. You have to look at it. Like that's just like, unless you're McDavid or Patrick Kane, and you're one of those guys that can just know, like, have a sixth sense of where it is at all times. That play happens all the time, and where guys look down on their feet. It just doesn't happen all the time where you have another 6'4" guy coming to take your fucking head off. So people, I'm saying the people, these Twitter idiots out there saying like it was Khaira's fault and that he should just pick his head up. Like they saw that line from the fucking movie Miracle where it's like, oh, pick his head up. He doesn't have to worry about it. Fuck off.
Well,
like that play happens where you're juggling the puck. It's in your feet all the time.
I disavow that. I didn't see a lot of that on my own timeline. So
Okay.
I'm just
All right.
and I'm sure you have more.
I think
more than you.
Yeah.
because you have more.
Yeah.
A bigger outreach, but
And-
I'm
but-
just saying I didn't see a lot of that. If I did, I'd be on your side. About
Yeah,
that.
and I think my thing, I'm not like calling for Trouba's head or even a suspension, but it was an illegal hit. But it's
Yeah,
certainly
I agree with your entire point about it. About
right.
It wasn't
But
a
it's
legal hit,
the people in my mentions, and I like quote tweeted one fucking guy named Dylan, being
Oh,
like,
what a dink.
what a fucking idiot. And so yeah, so Khaira's out, and it's not his fault. It's not necessarily Trouba's fault either, but it's like that was a bad, violent hit.
And sorry, one note before we talk Stroman. It's okay to be Italian, folks. Just want to put that out there.
Yes.
You
should. I mean,
you starting out with that just kind of triggered me because it just reminded me of White Sox Day. So I'm sorry.
All
I
right, so
came
it's
out on the
also
top.
fucking Irish Tom over here is part of the problem too.
Good, yeah.
It's just all people
Dylan.
from the what is it 1001 area code zip code.
This guy looks like he passed out overnight in a fucking tanning bed.
Yeah, he's probably at the shore, probably at a fucking caught some sun
that's
on the beach.
probably
there.
exactly where he was.
Give him a break.
Yeah, that
Like,
guy
I
sucked.
mean,
but that's just like a guy who played,
like the show.
like some shitty pee-wee hockey in New York City, and now he thinks he's like the toughest, most knowledgeable guy ever. Like that thing happened. That play happens all the time. And if you are so good that you don't have to look at your feet when the puck is in your skates like that, when you're kind of finding it, juggling it, then that fucking Dylan, you should be in the NHL, asshole.
Dylan. Carl, you've waited patiently for a week.
Yeah, it's just like really big news. Huge news. Huge fucking news, Tommy.
What
was the name of that jersey you were wearing yesterday?
Zibanejad.
Fuck that guy.
Brendan, I am
Wear that shit in here.
I
again.
love Zibanejad. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he
and Adam
is.
Fox is awesome. They got a lot of guys who are just fucking awesome. Panarin had 4 points right in my eyeball.
That was
The
nuts.
Hawks didn't
Yeah.
need to trade him.
No, they didn't, Dave.
Can't
They
believe you
didn't.
guys traded him. That's nuts.
I know.
He's
For
so
what?
good.
For what? Nothing.
Nothing.
They got nothing. God damn it.
Okay, so this would be huge Chicago sports free agent news. Huge. This is bigger than Ben Wallace. All right. Remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
That was,
I was pumped.
It's not Alfonso Soriano though. All right, so I've said repeatedly this offseason that the Cubs are not in a position to like compete for a World Series, and they don't even know what their farm system and young guy structure looks like. So you can't really spend that much money on like a big free agent. And if you follow our baseball conversations historically on Redline Radio, I've said a lot of stuff to Dave about the White Sox, even when he's had great major league young players succeeding and having good seasons, and then the offseason comes, it's like, well, you guys still don't really know where you need to go drop that $25 million contract. Now, I've said that about the White Sox. When they've Tim Anderson, Yohan Moncada, fucking Madrigal was coming up, they had all the pieces in place. So then going back to the Cubs free agency, how the fuck can I come in here and be like, yo, we got to light it up in free agency when it's like Ed Howard and Pete Crow Armstrong and a bunch of guys that are young and could be great.
I can't wait for that guy to. I
Pete
hope-
Crow Armstrong would be huge.
Need it.
PCA?
Yeah.
He should be sponsored by one of the big public accounting firms as soon as
Yeah.
he gets up. Like, I want that guy doing.
Enkin.
I've already got T-shirts
Networking
in mind
events.
for that guy.
Enkin shills to all the Chicago athletes like crazy.
The
Howard
law
Enkin.
firm,
Yeah.
Peter
Yeah.
Crow Armstrong. So we know the names, right? Even that, like, there's some buzz here, but like, guys, realistically, we're still 2 years away.
Yeah.
And so that was like a big message, mostly for Cubs fans to be like, dude, if we don't fucking do it in free agency, don't worry about it. The money's, whether or not the money's there, just be patient, because you're just going to get worked up. They're going to win 82, 83 games at best. Like, that's where my head's at. Is like, best case scenario, you're still behind the 8 ball. So just kind of try and enjoy yourself a little bit. Don't be so caught up on, oh, we had a shitty June. Like, no, you had a good June. Weather's fucking nice. Go to the ballpark, have some fun, enjoy your summer. Then the Cubs went out and they signed Marcus Stroman. And it was like, holy shit. Like, chills. Like, what? I thought this was smoke and mirrors from the Cubs, that they were in on it to give us a little something to feel good about. But the deal that they put together is outstanding. And it kind of like reopens the door now for all these different possibilities, while still one of those doors being open is you get to rebuild and get the farm system going again. It checks like every box at once. There's a 2-year opt-out after the first 2 years. They're paying him a fuck ton of money. But upon further research, I don't know if anybody gives a fuck about this, but I'm just going to keep going and pretending. I swear to God, this is so exciting. He is literally one of the best and most reliable 30-year-old free agent starting pitchers to hit the market in so long.
Why do you say that?
Ground ball rates, nothing. His strikeout walk ratios, phenomenal. He grades out as one of the most mechanically sound pitchers. He's had one major injury, an ACL injury in 2016, came back, core strength, all this stuff. Like, he literally grades out as like, if you wanted to maximize all your shit and have great mechanics and be in it for the long haul, he's there. Then if you look at his pitch mix, so like the type of stuff he throws, he's one of the only pitchers starting pitchers in baseball that throws 4 pitches over 10% of the time. And all 4 of those pitches that he throws over 10% of the time grade out as above average major league pitches. He doesn't rely on velocity. A lot of this stuff where if you were projecting someone over the next couple of years, you'd feel very good because the injury risk, there's like a risk like 40% of any pitcher at the start of the year is subject to like a 40% risk they end up on the disabled list or IL.
But not him.
Stroman's a significantly lower risk.
So how can you answer that then? If it's a 2-year opt-out and we're not going to be good again in 2 years.
Here's what they told him then. 2-year opt-out. He wants to feel like he's part of something that's going somewhere. He wants to build culture. He doesn't want to go walk in somewhere and like, all right, you're the 3. Here's the other 1, the 2. Okay. He wants to be part of that staff. He probably loves Kyle Hendricks' stuff. He probably wants to work off Kyle Hendricks, learn from his changeup. Stroman's the type of guy who's like, I'm going to go out in the outfield and work on a sinker. And if the sinker feels good, he'll fucking take it to the mound. Yeah. Like if he's like, I'll check this grip out. He's always tinkering and all this stuff. So the pitching staff he wants to be a part of is probably very collegial, or what's that? The word where like you're sharing, you're talking, you're part of this together.
We can go with collegial, I feel like. Yeah.
So that's kind of what the Cubs offer him right now. That's very appealing. They probably made a real strong pitch to him too about being yourself and being able to have a loud voice, and Chicago is a good place for that. And he's just a very loud, outspoken, social justice guy, and that's his fucking prerogative.
He also still hates Frank the Tank.
It's tough. We'll cross that bridge. Maybe I'll mend it.
I'm interested to see how it's going to go too, because I don't know. A lot of people have said that we won't like him because of like he's
a prick.
Apparently, he'll give up. He'll lose a game 4-3, and then like in the press conference, we'll be like, "Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. What I really want to talk about is this." And we'll be like, "Okay, dude." Or he won't be. He doesn't savor in the wins and losses as much. Have you seen him do the handstand though? There's a video of him doing a handstand, and then him lowering his knees like he's doing mountain climbers.
Really?
Jesus Christ.
In like a very slow, controlled manner.
So he's fit.
I think that's more about him being weird. Arrieta was weird.
Yeah.
I like weird starting pitchers. I like guys that are like, you know what? The only way this is going to work is if
It's Hendricks too.
there's like this Buddhist level of mentality to it. Like, I have to put myself in this extreme.
Mm-hmm. And I heard that from Mets fans, to be fair, and I think they just hate him so much. So they're probably a little clouded with that. But
Cubs fans don't really hate anybody unless you're mean. Unless you're a bad Milton Bradley. We don't like Milton Bradley.
Why do Mets fans hate him so much? He had fine numbers there.
He was good.
Yeah, I know he
really
opted out of the COVID year, and then I forget I forget exactly why, but I remember initially when it happened.
They hate everybody.
Got hit up by a Mets fan that I know, and he's like, "Dude, you're gonna hate this guy." I was like, "Well, all right, we'll see."
Well,
They loved him in the beginning.
You know what we can do? We can outsource this answer.
So this is Stroman moves the Cubs here. So let's just talk technical, strategic stuff. Why this actually changes things? Because like the Cubs are very much in play to get Carlos Correa now.
Stroman did recruit him.
There's only 2, and I'm interested how much that plays up. It's like Correa's probably like, all right, dude, maybe. But the next 2 free agent classes aren't very good, and Correa might be one of the best available free agents for a number of years. And obviously, you see how important shortstop is playing up the middle. I still don't know if I love it because you're committing a ton of money and then you're just basically putting a flag in short. We already have Madrigal presumably for the next 6 years. You're basically eliminating your middle infield, which is kind of a tough thing to develop prospects with, as we've seen before at the Cubs. When you have like these long jam, you have these like Chris Bryant's a third baseman, Javi's in the infield, Addison Russell's in the infield. If you're an up-and-coming prospect that's playing infield, you know what you're doing? You're thinking about switching to the outfield. Yeah. You're like looking at the infield and being like, how do I fit into this?
How is Ed Howard progressing?
It's tough to say. I mean, yeah, like he's
statistically not well.
Okay.
He's still young.
But that doesn't really
He's
mean
still
a whole
young
lot
and he
yet.
like flies off the charts athletically. You don't know.
Yeah.
My point is you don't know, so it's harder to make a decision on Correa. But if you're going to consider this, the market sucks the next couple of years. They have the money now. They have like $80 million under the tax threshold. They haven't spent money for a while. I think it'd be stupid just to spend $210 million because you can. I think that's stupid. I'd rather have a $210 million budget, underspend, save the money.
So where are you on Correa then?
I'm interested in Correa if it's not like a $40 million deal.
Okay.
And I'm interested in
It won't be that.
Correa.
Correa's going to get like
other-
$380 million.
I mean, they still need to go sign 1 or 2 more stars. There's still way more work that needs to be done. But if they get Correa, which is now in play based on the fact that they went and signed Stroman, because I was like, fuck it. If they didn't get players for years, if your biggest deal to any position player for 5 years is 2 years and $5 million to Daniel Descalso, how the fuck am I going to walk in this offseason after you fail to extend or retain any of these guys and be like, oh, well, here comes Carlos Correa, here comes Marcus Stroman. So I am caught off guard personally and professionally, I suppose.
I was surprised that like I noticed a lot, at least on my Twitter feed, that like Cubs fans like expected big things.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it still could happen with Correa, like we said, but
Yeah, I was
I was
surprised.
like,
I don't know.
obviously you had to take the CBA not being agreed upon prior to the deadline into account, but like I said it on Redline Radio. I said I'd be shocked if the Cubs don't end up with one of the big shortstops on the market this year, and there's like 5 of them. So I still think that there is a very good chance that could happen. One of the reasons is it looks like after on the other side of this CBA and lockout is that there's going to be expanded playoffs. So maybe if the Cubs are an 82-win team, maybe that's
enough.
Stroman,
That's enough.
Hendricks is a good mix. Adbert Alzolay has encouraging stuff in his pitch mix where, like, he just keeps getting thrown out to the fire. Sooner or later, that worked for a guy named John Garland, heavy fucking sinker slider guy. Like, I think there's some compelling stories on the backside. They do need one more guy. They need at least one more starting pitcher to then start talking about, like, all right, well, could they piece together a team that can compete throughout the course of the season? It's a long way away. And we're assuming they get Correa if we're even talking about this.
When you say expanded playoffs, what does that mean? How many teams?
as many as 14, which to me is fucking stupid, but it's all about the dollar bill, the almighty dollar bill. So
read an article this week, a white paper for some, there's a word, white paper from some Cornell professors about playoff odds.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here's all right. I'm trying to gather my thoughts and make this succinct because there's crazy shit about comparing the leagues and playoffs. The NBA, if you wanted to figure out who the best team in a series was, they play a 7-game series. They say the better team on paper wins 80% of the time.
Okay.
I'm surprised it's even that low.
To have that level of certainty where you say the best team will win 80% of those playoff series. For football, it was like a best of 11 series. And for baseball, it was best of 75.
Yeah, it's
Where
fucking
you would
crazy.
need 75 game, a best of 75 game
To
series.
really determine who.
They'd be like, all right, you're the first team to 38 wins. You are the better team. And that happens only 80% of the time. So applying that to a 3-game playoff series.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up.
Yeah.
I can understand not like an executive being like, well, who gives a fuck if you're there? You got a fucking 45% chance anyways. Is Stroman good enough to be the ace? I don't know if he's like a strikeout. He's not. He's not going to strike out 14 guys and give up 2 hits, but he will limit it. And he only averages like 15 pitches an inning, which is fucking insane.
I wonder. So the owners want expanded playoffs. Do the players want that too?
Well,
They don't
the
know.
Players, not exactly.
People say
right?
the players shouldn't want it, but they do
I
want
would.
it.
I would
They-
agree.
In the long term, they don't want it
you
because then it
don't want it?
randomizes the success of a roster, and then that thus devalues your big time players.
Exactly.
Right.
But in the short term, players think that playoffs mean more opportunities to individualize yourself, build a brand, have big moments, have success.
suppose.
Exactly.
And then they can
exactly,
negotiate
exactly.
that arbitration free agency.
Yeah, but if I'm an owner and it's like I'm gonna make so much more money with a much more limited with payroll because my fans will look and say, hey, we're only 2 games out of the playoffs, even though we're basically a 500 team. Mm-hmm. And then if you get in, great. But if not, you get all the gate for August, September for the race that you're in. So why would I spend $300 million on Carlos Correa when I can have a replacement level guy and still be in the race and still make like you're? I feel like
I think fans are smarter though. So I think that
I'm
might
asking
work.
if the players are smart.
Yeah, no, they definitely are. They're privy to this.
But that's why I asked if the players want it too.
I
and you,
hope to be getting, for Red Line Radio purposes, information from behind the scenes on these negotiations as they occur.
Yes. Scoop City.
Not really. I mean, anybody with a brain could put 2 and 2 together with who I'm talking about.
who
if you
is
can.
the player rep for the White Sox?
Exactly, yeah. So I'm hoping. It's not guaranteed, but
I'm excited for
hoping.
Clint.
Yeah, he talked some shit to the Yankees too.
Yeah, I was gonna.
He's
ask
got
you
huge
about that.
forearms.
What do you think
He-
of Clint Frazier?
Dude,
I like
he's got the fucking fastest hands and best bat speed I think I've ever seen.
You saw him on talking about speaking of Greasy Yankees Twitter. He went after Greasy Yankees Twitter.
I
did he really?
liked Clint Frazier for a long time, going back to that draft, and said I thought that he could get.
Oh my God! Please, please, please. What's his Twitter? How do you spell his name? Frazier.
No,
With
but
a Z.
Tanahashi.
a lot of other people in mentions just are Yankees fans saying like, "Good luck." Like I think the Yankees mismanaged you. Like whatever. Like I think a lot of Yankees fans had like a lot of high hope for him, and things just never worked out. So
A lot of people don't like playing for the Yankees.
yeah,
I mean, Lance Lynn's a perfect example.
Didn't he get off to like a very hot start in New York?
I think he hit a couple home runs.
Yeah, he had a couple big
Yeah.
hits.
He's pretty clueless in the outfield, but we'll see. He's a perfect example, Ed. I've talked a lot on the blog about like the Cubs need to find these second tier guys that are either failed prospects or come up in bad circumstances. Basically, Arrieta's the perfect example coming from the Orioles pitching system. Like a Yankees failed prospect that they traded for is like he was coming up in the Indian system. Like, yeah, be in Cleveland. Oh, great. And then all of a sudden it was like, yo, you're going to the fucking Yankees?
Yeah.
You can't do this. You can't do that. You got to be like that. Like, Clint Frazier's probably like, well, this is a big fucking change. And that stuff doesn't get accounted for. You're talking about like a 24-year-old, 23-year-old kid. I mean, really, these are young guys coming from different. So that's why I'm just pumping them up for Cubs fans. Because like for $1.5 million and $1 million incentive, like basically max $2.5 million, like you could have a guy that ends up thumping 25 homers. We saw tons of these guys on the Giants roster this year. Tons.
Yeah.
Last thing.
Well,
What?
one guy in the Giants roster, there was that report that don't rule out a Chris Bryant return.
That's the last thing.
Oh, okay.
What do you think?
I'm asking you.
I know, but I'm asking you.
I mean, I love Chris Bryant.
So you'd like it?
Put a ballpark in it. We can look this up on Fangraphs or MLB Trade Rumors. They do their offseason projections on what a free agent will sign for. What do you think he'll sign for right now?
I don't know. I mean, I think it depends.
It is wild. It could be, if it was 5 years, $75 million at $15 million a pop, I wouldn't be surprised. Or if you got like triple that, I wouldn't be surprised. He's such a weird player. I would love if he came home to Chicago, I think.
Yeah, I think
Only for trolling purposes.
Yeah, I don't know
well,
if he'd
a
be
lot of
coming
trolling
back to
purposes.
it's just hard. I mean, Eddie, you looked in his eyes.
I did.
He loves it here, right?
Yeah, I think he does like it here. You don't think so?
I think he's just exhausted.
I'm saying the city.
Yeah.
I don't know if he likes the
fans.
I'm saying
The business of
he
baseball.
He definitely likes aspects of it.
Like the media circle around the Cubs is not anything Chris Bryant wants more of, I don't think.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that.
So if the Cubs do get him, that'd be like, to answer your question, Chief, I think they'd have to pay 30-something million. And then I think it's a question of would you rather do that or would you rather pay Carlos Correa 34, 35 million, whatever that's going to cost. He's going to
The
get
money in baseball.
He's going to get more than
so crazy.
Yeah.
he's going to get more than Seager is. What did Seager get? 350?
I thought 325.
I think you're right, actually. So he's going to get 34, 35. Correa, a little more durable, better defender.
I just don't know if I have to backpedal my take yet because it's like, do I even know if I would spend that money? Do I want to? Is this going to impede us spending money in the future? Is it going to slow down development? I don't know. Thank God I'm not making these decisions. And I think it's shitty that, not shitty, but tough for a GM to come in right away and they're like, all right, make this decision. You know, sit around with Jed, make these decisions. So, but nevertheless, it's better than not doing anything, I guess. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, there's no cap in baseball, so like, we'll see what happens after these CBAs, what the penalties are for spending. But it does. I don't know. It just feels like, I don't know. I'm a broken boy after what the Hawks have put us through. So I feel like if you're rebuilding, just stick to that. Just stick to your rebuild plan. Don't have these like little
Jeremy Burnett's here.
Yeah.
Remember those years?
Oh
yeah, yeah. So like,
Fuck.
if you're not trying to
Matt
be like,
Lawton.
I would love to drink beer with Jeremy Burnett.
Jock Jones.
he was in the home run derby.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Times. Yeah.
Yeah. Cliff
Jack
Floyd.
Jones. Jack
Those
Jones
were-
Clifford Floyd.
Yeah, those are real.
was
I feel like Clifford Floyd
a murder.
played
of
for
the
every
White
single
Sox.
team.
Why call him Clifford?
I like saying Clifford.
Cliff Floyd, he's Chicago, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
went to
TF South?
Thorn Fractional.
TF South or North. I remember on the IHSA website in high school, you can look up all the records, and he at one time had like every baseball record you could have in the state. I
Yeah,
remember.
dude, he was like a fucking first round draft pick out of like a Chicago suburb as an outfielder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the last time a position player
It
Out
was
of high
what's his
school.
face from Peoria that played for the Nationals. Why am I blanking on his name?
Jason Worth.
Jason Worth.
It's like 95 or 96 got drafted in the first round.
Wow.
We've had a few pitchers.
Mike
We
Bowden.
had Bowden. We had Fulte, who I got to know his parents a little bit when I was back in my Coach Shock Stave days. Great people, actually. Fulte, he was 17th overall. Then we had Quinn Priester. Why do I always call him Priebe? That's a Northwestern player. Quinn Priester of Crystal Lake Central was 2 years ago by the Pirates. He was like 18th overall.
Shout out to all these guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Priester's actually a big stoolie.
Is he?
Yeah, and he's dominating right now. You might see him against the Cubs this year for Pittsburgh.
Illinois baseball.
Illinois baseball.
Nice little roundup.
Someone did ask me if I wanted to coach for their team this coming spring, like actual high school, not travel ball. And it got the juices flowing.
How real was the offer?
Dave just has to do an interview in front of the school board to get approved.
I mean, I wouldn't be paid or anything, so
Mr. Williams.
I think it was probably pretty real.
Is it doable commute?
In
What?
a tweet
he
dated
hadn't gotten back to
December
me yet.
15th.
He emailed.
You said smash those babies right in my face. What did you mean by those babies?
Objection,
tits,
Your Honor.
Yeah, Quinn Priester, he'll start the year in
Says-
Double-A. He's 21 years old.
All right. My son likes kids.
Anyways, but
This
I
is-
do want to do this in the next year or two, and it's a shit ton of work. But I think with our backing, I really, really, truly think that I could put together a fucking awesome 17-year-old baseball team.
Would that make you happy?
it would be incredible content. It would be like two-a-days meets.
Oh, so you
Eastbound
like
and
want
Down.
to film it and actually
yeah,
like make
oh
it
yeah,
like
yeah. Oh yeah.
5 a.m.
I really,
Coach
really,
Prime
really
except
think
the
we
White
could
Sox
put together an awesome travel team like that competes with Sparks and Upper Deck
I mean,
Cougars.
I'm in. Coach Prime except White
It's a
Sox.
Coach Prime spinoff. Yeah.
I'm in.
Dave
Get Dion
laying
out
the
there.
foul lines
Dion's
down.
after the Cusack thing, he said he wants to meet me. So
Would you hire him as an assistant?
Yeah, I'm sure he wants to coach a 60-game schedule with you now then too.
Yeah, more like
But Dave has to
35.
coach the same team that Dion coaches
40.
at the same school.
no. This would be just
the Jackson
straight-
State baseball
Yeah.
coach. Here comes White Sox Dave Williams.
I love the idea of White Sox Dave making people run. Like
I told that story in a blog
doing
the other
polls.
day.
Yeah.
Actually, the kid reached out to me too. It was some coach in basketball. I forget what school. Called a timeout and made his team run suicides in the middle of the game. It was like
Yeah, it was
last
recent,
week.
a college basketball
Yeah,
game.
it was a college basketball game, like McNeese State or I don't know who it was. It was some like mid-major. But when I was coaching, we were playing a tournament down at ISU, and the ISU's got this tournament every year. It's not really a tournament; it's a showcase event that draws teams from all over the country: Texas, California, New Jersey, wherever, all over the country, and it's awesome, awesome talent. At any given game, you'll just see scouts from any level of baseball, from JUCO all the way on through D1 and Pro Ball. And they come out and watch. So the games, like the wins and losses, don't really mean anything, so you can move players around. And like if you want to simulate like a double play situation, you can just put a guy on first base. You don't really keep score, blah, blah, blah. So this kid from JCA showed up fucking hungover. And this kid was like pretty good. He was pretty good. Like he could have absolutely played college baseball at some level, probably JUCO. And I fucking couldn't stand the kid because he was just a lazy asshole. And it's like, I don't care about showing up hungover. I don't care about drinking underage. I don't care about any of that shit.
We care.
Just don't.
I
Yeah,
care.
we
We
absolutely
definitely
care
do
about
not-
drinking underage. And if
Yeah.
you're
I
underage,
wasn't fucking making him run because he was out drinking.
All right, we understand.
Blah,
But
blah,
we
blah.
don't condone.
Okay,
drinking
I don't
underage.
condone. I don't condone it.
Thank
sure.
you.
Anyways, so he shows up. He starts puking. He's like, I don't want to play today. And all the kids were like, yeah, he was out until like 5 a.m. at some frat party at ISU, whatever he was doing. And so I put him on first base, gave him the steal sign, made him steal second, made him steal third, and then I made him steal home. And as soon as he got thrown out at all three places, I made him go right back to first. I made him do that 3 times, just making him run sprints mid-game because I fucking hated this kid so much. And he was just a lazy little cocksucker. He finally gets back, he pukes some more, and I'm like, did you learn your lesson a little bit? This catcher, by the way, was just fucking pew, 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 just mowing him down. Just mowing him down. And I think I called him a fat pussy at one point because he was like out of shape, and he like should have been way better. And
Yeah.
JCA
kid.
That year, JCA head coach, who's a friend of mine, shout out Coach Voss. He cut him because of the same shit. He was just lazy.
Damn.
So there you go. There's my story.
Thank you, David.
This has been
But
loaded.
that's the kind of content you'd be getting at if I put together one of these teams, and I think we could get like a legit loaded team, like loaded, like full of Division I kids. That's it. What do you think?
respectfully.
Yeah. I had 5 D1 kids on my last team.
Well, let me tell you what I think. I think any kid with the promise of a professional career that entrusts his arguably most formative years of his development to your stewardship in general strategic vision development has a screw loose.
But that's
And
not,
I think that
they would be
screw
getting all of that stuff.
would be helpful as that kid progresses. So I think it's like a ridiculous proposition, but I think anybody who would go through your program is probably made for the life of baseball.
What if
Is
you
that fair?
balance that out by being, you come here, you might not go to Stanford, but wherever you go, you will have a brand. You'll be one of the only college baseball players with a legitimate NIL because White Sox Dave made you famous.
There you go.
So
I'm not saying I'm trying to like I would take the development and promotion part of that very seriously. It's just that like I wouldn't be doing anything for the cameras, just that there'd be cameras around. And
I don't
people-
think you could turn it off.
What do you mean?
I don't think that you could look at like a situation and not ham it up a little bit. for the kid.
But I would be in a different world though.
Well, yeah. Well,
It'd be like hidden cameras, kind of.
I'm not calling it a bad idea.
I didn't say you did.
I think you would attract the type of player that would succeed in the minor league lifestyle. Guy who can sleep anywhere, chasing weird small town puss, having a good time, still succeeding in baseball. Like adaptable.
You guys are kind of missing the point. You don't think that we could put together with our reach and with the Barstool name a good team? Like I did it without any of that.
I think you'd have to have Dallas Braden involved too.
Yeah, I think we'd do
He
fine.
wouldn't be able to. He lives out in fucking California.
We're just competing against, like Driveline and Bo Jackson and like.
I already did all that though. I did all that with limited help. I was just going around to different PBR showcases, hustling around for contact info and like cold calling families until I could put teams together.
I'd like to see you try. I would watch it.
The only thing about that is that's like legitimately a full-time job.
Yeah.
And the other thing that turns me off about it, the parents. The parents are the worst fucking things on earth. They think their kid should be, going to Stanford when it's like, no, you should be going to North Central.
See, that was another point. I don't know if the parents help or hurt. Maybe
Parents
some
always
dad's a
hurt.
stoolie and he's like, hey, I like these guys. This guy's funny, But
Have tryouts, all of it. I would like to do it. We'll see.
Eddie?
Yeah, I'll provide nice hot dogs after the game. How about that?
You couldn't cook a hot dog if you fell out of a fucking boat, Ed.
I thought that was a nice gesture. But
No, you can come.
All right, last thing, hot dog argument. I think one hot dog that got left off the list, high school sporting event concessions. I don't care what the high school, I don't care what the sporting event. If it's like a basketball game at a holiday tournament, they got good steamed dogs. Football games, Mount Carmel does a good dog. Obviously, Brother Rice Maris, but that didn't get brought up. All gas.
No breaks.
DJ, play that shit.